hear enough people talking about this book, and we need to change that. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have something really exciting to announce, and that is a read-along for one of my favorite books of last year, and that is Threads That Bind by Kika Hatzopoulou. I was obsessed with this last year. I got the ARC, and I'm so glad that for once I actually read the ARC before the release date of the book, because then I knew I just had to have this beautiful edition that Fairy Loot put out, and I'm so glad because it is very stunning, even though I do love the original cover as well. This has this beautiful sprayed edges. It came with beautiful end papers and beautiful character art, but no matter what edition you read, the story is the same and the story is amazing, so let me tell you about it. But first, let's talk about why I intend to do this read along. A couple of weeks ago I got a very exciting email telling me that I'm on the street team for Kika's new release and the sequel to Threads That Bind, which is Hearts That Cut. This is a duology, so that will be the grand finale to this series, and I'm both parts excited but also dreading the ending of this amazing story because I was hooked from the very first page when I read this last year. I was planning on rereading the first book in this series in May anyway, so this works out perfectly. I thought I would do a read along with all of you guys because I don't hear enough people talking about this book, and we need to change that. I'll give you the information for the read along at the end of the video, but let's get into the book itself. So this is Threads That Bind and this is Io. She lives in the city of Elante, which is a city that is drowning and has this very damp atmosphere, which I loved. In this city we have descendants of the Greek gods live among the humans, and they inherited some of their powers. One of them is Io. She and her sisters are descended from the Fates, who decided on how long the lifespan of a human is supposed to be and when to cut it, and thus ending their life. I can practically hear some of you say, Greek gods? Really? Aren't we done with that? And I used to be the same. I used to think, another retelling. Is it worth it? Yes. Yes, it is. So this is such a unique way of looking not only at the Greek gods themselves, but the fates. I have never read anything like it, and I just want more people to love this book as much as I do. Io's powers allow her to see threads that connect people with people and places and experiences that they loved, and they also allow her to cut these threads, basically taking away the things and the places and the people that this person loves. And then there's of course the life thread that if she would cut it, that person would die. She uses these abilities to solve crimes because she's a private investigator, and when during one of these cases she stumbles upon a murder, there's something really weird going on because she sees that one of the murderers has their life thread cut, which should mean that they're dead, but they're walking around killing people. So what's going on? So we follow her as she tries to untangle this mystery, and also has to work with someone that she didn't really plan on working with, which is Ade, who works for the mob and is also trying to figure out what is happening in his town. Now what Ade doesn't know is that Io can actually see a silver thread connecting them, which is a fate thread, which means they're fated to be lovers. What I remember most of this book is the atmosphere in this. I could actually feel the dampness all around me while I was walking through the city with Io, and it was such a unique setting. It just stuck in my mind. The next thing that I remember is Ade, and he is such a cinnamon roll. If anything happens to him, I'm gonna be pissed because he is such a cutie. And I know fated lovers is a trope that some people aren't into. I'm not either. I usually don't like that trope, but with this it really worked because Io herself is kind of like, fated? I don't care for it. I'm a fate. I can actually cut this and be done with it. And she is struggling the whole way through, figuring out if she actually wants to cut the fated thread or if she wants to keep it, if she needs to tell Ade or not. So it's a really interesting way of looking at being fated to love someone. And what I also remember of this book is how surprised I was at the dynamics of the sisters in this one. There are a lot of fantasy books out there that have siblings in their stories, but I just loved how it was done in this and the direction that it went in, the depth and the focus it had. It wasn't just perfunctory, it had a meaning and a reason behind it, and I loved it, and I can't wait to read more of it. There are so many reasons to love this book, and I've kind of been waiting a year to reread this and love it again. So I am glad to invite all of you guys to read this alongside with me. Of course, for this read along to happen, I needed to know like what happens and how to divide up this book. So I did read it in April already, and there's gonna be a dedicated reading vlog. The dedicated reading vlog for this book is coming out on the day that we start the readathon, which is the 4th of May. Of course, all of this is gonna be spoiler free, so don't worry if you haven't read the book yet. We have all of May to read this book together. I of course will reread it again with you guys in May so I can talk to you guys about it. If someone still needs a bit of time to finish the book before the next release, they do, because the next book is only coming out on the 20th of June, so there's a lot of time still to read this book, love this book, and be excited for the release of the sequel. So starting on May 4th, we are gonna share our reading experience on Instagram, so go check out my Instagram and follow me there to get more information, get templates, and be part of this read along. The book itself is divided into 3 parts, but I'm not going to keep those for the weeks that we read it because they do have different lengths. So I will divide it into manageable parts, and all of us will have a week to read this part. If you want to take part in this read along, you don't have to sign up or anything. You just have to get the book any way you want and be ready by May 4th. I would be really happy to hear that you're taking part down in the comments or over on Instagram. I would just love it if you would maybe share my post or my story over there on Instagram so that more people can find out about this read along and take part if they want to, and make this a really great reading experience for all of us. And that's it for now. I hope you guys are intrigued enough to join me in May. I would love to see you there. If you want to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, then I would be most happy. And until next time, I hope you have all the great reads. Bye!